What is going on, everyone? Training camp is back. The Packers are back. We were going to play a little Guess Who's Back, but we didn't do that. Didn't know about it. Didn't know about the laws and everything on that end. Still just average Joes talking Packers, so we're going to keep it simple and legal here. But yes, the Packers are back. The NFL training camp started this week, and we're going to kind of break down the, somewhat telling, not too exciting first week. I know pads were on today, but there's some stuff to talk about. I think some big talking points potentially. Look at some big winners, some big losers for these first 4 or 5 practices. On a scale of 1 to 10, Mike and Riley, training camp, football is back. How excited are you to actually talk real football that is happening real time during this podcast that we can break down?
11 out of 10, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, big 10, easy 10.
That's what we like to hear. Okay. A lot of fun things to talk about, I think, here. And then we got a really fun final drive. We're going to not spoil it for you yet. We're going to make you sit and listen to all the rest of the talk until we get to it. But it's going to be very fun, interesting, training camp related. We'll just say that. But all right. Well, yes. Training camp. The Packers, they started practice on Wednesday. They have had, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday off, Sunday, Monday. So 5 practices so far, 4 unpadded. The first one today was pads, a little contact. None of us have gone to practice, just kind of following along on some of the other Packers beat writers, some of the articles, I'm assuming. So this is going to be kind of that point of view, not actually boots on the ground, butts on the seat in that beautiful training camp facility, practice facility, but still some good things to talk about. So I'm just going to open up just from some general thoughts that I had. If you guys want to add on to it or just anything in general that you've seen or read, and then we'll get into some of our biggest winners, biggest losers, and then if you have any big takeaways or anything towards the end, we can do that. But I think the big news today was 2 players returned to practice, 2 presumed starters, one on offense, one on defense. Elton Jenkins, who is presumed to be the starting center, was back after these mysterious back injury. Was it an actual back injury? Was it a contract back injury? We don't know. He goes and says that the contract never really was an issue. He was always going to play on this deal. So was it blown out of proportion on one end? And just, I don't know, but it was good for him to be back on the field. Of course, just limited some of like the shell stuff and just some of the individual stuff. And then the other one, Riley's boy, Quay Walker, also returned on defense. Again, only doing individual drills, didn't jump into team stuff. But 2 big returnees, I guess, for the first day of padded practice. Were you surprised, both of you, more so on the Elton Jenkins, that I guess just one, the talk going into it was, hey, there never really was any contract issues on his end. I know Goody fully expected and LaFleur both fully expected him to practice once this back injury healed. But were you surprised that he was on the field today all suited up? Was that kind of one of the surprising things for you these first 5 days?
Yeah. I mean, I was expecting for this to linger. And I'm not sure how much I really buy into him saying there was never a contract issue. There's never a money issue. It was truly just a back injury. But that's all in the rear view now. So who cares? He's there. And hopefully if there really was a back injury, it doesn't flare up again. Hopefully he's healthy out there and playing up to his all-pro potential that he has. So glad to have Big Sexy back, I think, as he refers to himself as. So yeah, good to have him back.
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite direction. I am excited he's back, but I'm going to say this was a big fucking swing and miss by the Packers reporters, insiders, making this into a big deal, and I don't think it actually ended up being one. I think the fact that as nonchalant as Goody always was about it, this was literally never a thing. Like we've talked about, nobody actually knows what's going on inside that Packers front office. So I think this was a very big reach and a very big miss from the Packer insider faithful, trying to make something into absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I'd have to agree. I mean, I was a little surprised. I didn't know like how legit was this injury. Was it actually an injury? I don't know. But again, he was only limited today. I thought some of the comments and stuff that he made when he was open to reporters was interesting. How it was his idea to move to center last year, and then kind of a full season later, the Packers approached him, and he basically said, "I that was never an issue. Guarantee was never an issue. I'm going to play on my extension that I signed, 2 seasons ago, that 4-year extension." So hey, if Elton's happy, and it seems like he's been in the mix, like he's been in meetings, he's getting a connection rapport with Jordan Love, which is obviously important. So I would have to say we all agree a major upgrade from Josh Myers is Elton Jenkins, right? Moving to center there, just in every facet of the center position. So that's a good kind of anchor to kind of start the offensive line, I would say. Quay on the other side. Seems like he's getting closer. I know he's kind of recovering from that injury, so we'll kind of keep an eye on him. See if it revs up these next few days of Patted if he gets more and more involved. But of course, as much as frustrating as he can be, it's good to see him back on the field at least, not missing a ton of time because this could be one of those nagging injuries that could just carry on in camp, and before you know it, it's preseason game number 3, and he's finally just getting back out there. So, good to see him get back. The first week essentially. Another big storyline: Nathaniel Hackett, the old offensive coordinator, the gold zone creator, I guess, with the old Austin Powers reference. He is back on the coaching staff. Very similar as Robert Saleh as last year, except on the other side of the ball as an analyst on defense. So, Riley, I'm going to start it with you. How big of a role can he have, or what the heck does that even look like? Obviously, you have an offensive mind kind of helping out that side of the ball. Is it news? Not really news. Just, hey, LaFleur's being, hey, you're my buddy. I'll give you a spot, get you some money until your next coaching opportunity comes about. What do we look into the Nathaniel Hackett back on the staff?
This is, yeah, I mean, I would say definitely a buddy hire. Like, he wasn't going to get a job anywhere else doing anything. He's had such a terrible couple of years calling plays, obviously. But I mean, I think I mean, he's not going to he's not going to make them worse. It's only beneficial. Like, he's just going to sit there in defensive meetings and tell Halfley how he would attack Halfley's defense if he was that team based on like what they do. So I don't know how spot on he'll be or how good of a mind he actually has. It makes you wonder with how unsuccessful he's been. But like I said, he's not going to like hurt them. Him being there is not going to hurt the defense at all. Maybe pull one or two things a week, hopefully help them sure up some things. So only beneficial, but yeah, definitely a buddy hire because he was not getting a job anywhere else, I would assume.
Mike,
Yeah,
anything to add
for
to
sure.
that?
No, not really. I mean, I don't really put too much stock into it. I don't really care too much about it. I did hear that the old offensive line coach James Campen has been around the organization for the last like 6 months though as a consultant. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. I think he was the old offensive line coach before Stenovich was the O line coach. I thought that was kind of interesting too.
There we go. Some things that we find out the first week of practice. Another big announcement. Riley was thrilled about this. The new throwbacks were leaked a day early, but came there the start camp just in our group chat. I don't know what Mike thinks about it, so we'll get to him. Riley, why are you not liking the new throwbacks? It was kind of pulling a page from Illinois Fighting Illini's helmets, like literally the exact same thing of what they did this last year with those leather helmet replica. But tell us, what makes you hate them so much?
It's just so fucking ugly. Like, I don't like I get the point of it, and that's what they wore, but it's just like I don't know, it like everybody on TV is making fun of them. Like it's just ruins it because they're just so ugly. There's nothing to say besides the fact that I just think they're really ugly. And everybody on TV obviously has agreed and just laughing at the Packers the last couple of days about it. So yeah, they're just fucking terrible. I don't know. It's not that they're trying too hard. There's nothing they can do. That's the colors and the setup they had, but it's not a good color combo. It's shitty version of Notre Dame almost. It's like I'd almost like rather them dress up as Notre Dame and just make the helmets a little bit lighter gold and go full Notre Dame. It'd look better. But it's like trying too hard to be I don't know. It's just bad.
I think they're like fucking awesome.
Oh,
I think
here we go.
I think they're the best throwbacks we've had since they had those blue jerseys with the gold dot on the middle. You know,
Also ugly.
I mean, they weren't terrible, but I think
Terrible.
they're no, Riley, shut up. I think they're the best throwbacks they've had since those. I mean, every throwback since those blue ones with the gold dot, I think those all fucking sucked. Like everyone loved.
They've never had a good throwback. Every throwback has always been ugly, I thought, for the Packers.
Everyone lost their minds about how awesome the last version was, the all greens. I thought those were ugly as hell. I hated those. I think these ones are sick. So whoever these people are on TV that are ripping them, I haven't heard anyone say that, but everyone's entitled to their opinion, but their opinion is wrong. So,
Oh,
So is it?
NFL Live. NFL Live fucking buried them. They're like all like
yeah,
they,
there you go.
all 6 people in best just for laughing at how terrible they were.
Yeah,
Can't we
well,
just like do a white? Why can't we just do a whiteout again like last year? Like,
No.
actually wear them. Would be
No.
they're so clean, so clean.
those are stupid too. Stop it.
So are we not liking the jerseys, the helmet, the combo? Like what like you guys have been mainly talking about the jerseys. What about the helmet? Is the helmet just kind
They're
of
worse.
the helmet?
Those are worse.
Mike, what do you
For
think?
these for the throwbacks?
Yeah, the throwback with the
Yeah, they're
the
awesome.
helmet. So you think they're
Yes, I love the
Uh,
detail.
okay.
Yeah. The
Did-
whiteout helmets are stupid because the stripe doesn't match with what they have on the jerseys or the pants.
Did
At
you
least keep it. At least be consistent. Like, come on.
did you know that those were the Illinois like helmets last year? Did you see those last year? The Illinois
Yes,
Michigan.
I know.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. I mean, they're exactly the same thing. I'm assuming they got them from the same exact creator or whatever too, or designer.
Did they say what game they're wearing those for yet?
Steelers.
Steelers.
Uh,
No, probably a home
Hey,
game, I
no.
imagine.
no, I think I'm confusing the Steelers throwbacks so they're wearing those against the Packers. I don't know if they've.
I don't think they
Packers
have
announced.
announced them. Okay. Well,
The
split.
Bengals game. I swear to God.
that would yeah. Oh, I feel like it had to be one of the night games, right? Usually they bring those out, and I don't know, maybe not. But all right, we'll split jury of the new throwback jersey. So everyone,
What do you think, Collin?
I don't. To me, they're not like cool and original because Illinois did the helmet. Like to me, it's all about the helmets. Like to me, the jersey it's nothing like much. Like I don't know. I'm big on just the traditional green and white jerseys that the Packers have worn for how long. Like I'd be completely fine wearing those like every game. Like the blue jerseys I don't like hate them. I don't love them. They're just kind of there. The helmets, I don't know. I'm indifferent about it. If Illinois didn't do it last year and the Packers were the first ones to do it, maybe it'd be a little like more innovative and cool. But to me, it was just like a direct rip off exactly what Illinois did. So like to me, it wasn't as exciting. Just kind of I don't know. Like it's just like another jersey. I'm fine. I'm not
Okay.
gonna like hate them, but
Just one thing. They could have had this in the plan. They could have had this in the works for years. So I wouldn't necessarily. It's a direct knockoff of the Illinois, without knowing that information. Just gonna throw that out there.
they could have. Could have. I'm gonna say Illinois definitely either sped up the timeline or they ripped it right off of them, like one of the two. But Illinois kind of started that, I would say. At least the helmets, for sure. I don't know. Because you can't tell me they just both had the same exact idea and a year apart. You know what I mean? Or
Illinois
season apart.
probably stole it from the Packers. Is probably what I'm thinking. They
Potentially.
probably get wind of it.
Potentially.
Illinois, at the stage, just a bunch of crooks.
A bunch of crooks. Okay, we'll leave it at that. All right. Well, I'm glad we had a little disagreement right down the middle of what we thought of the jersey. So who would have thought that would have brought the first heated back and forth of the Dairyland Drive podcast? So, all right. Well, let's keep going. A big storyline from today. I want to get you guys' take on this before we get into biggest winners and losers. So, Speaking of Illini, the Packers just signed a former Illini this offseason, Nate Hobbs, the corner. Has been a little spicy, a little extra oomph, I guess, at the end of play so far. These first couple days, LaFleur has talked to him, telling him to dial it back a little bit. Your perspective, because I listened to a podcast today. Andy Herman was talking about this and said there's a lot of Packer fans posting on like forums and Twitter of. So just to let you know, and I think this is going to go into one of our biggest losers later, so I'm not going to spoil it too much, but he maybe crossed the line a little bit today. I don't know. We're going to get to this here. Had a lower contact to one of the Packers running backs, Marshawn Lloyd, and Lloyd left practice and did not return. This is after LaFleur had already talked to Nate Hobbs about, hey, like, don't be going through people and finishing. That's not what practice is about, blah, 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 blah. So, from your perspective, the Packers fans on social media, there's half of them are, let's get rid of Nate Hobbs. This is unsafe. And this is like true, like going through all this is unsafe. There's no like role or room for that out on the football field. He has no, consideration for his teammates. There's that side of it. And then the other side is like F LaFleur. He's soft. Why is he calling out his players for being so physical and, having this contact and stuff and kind of setting the tone of practice? Where do you guys fall on that? Is it one side or the other? Are you in between? Are you like a whole different perspective? But like just hearing that, like we had non-padded practice and then we had our first padded practice today, and Nate Hobbs has been in the storyline on both of being too physical on non-padded, non-contact, and then today. I have a feeling I know what Riley's going to say for sure. So we're going to start off with you, Mike. What's your kind of stance on it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you not really care? What's just like your initial thoughts on and just kind of, I guess, reading through all that and hearing that?
I love it. I'd rather someone be too intense and have the coach have to kind of reel him in, rein him in a little bit, rather than someone not being intense enough in practice, not giving it enough, and having to push them to ramp it up or whatever. I love it. I mean, I don't. People calling LaFleur soft, I don't know about that. I think he's just looking out for the safety of his own players. Like, yeah, he shouldn't be diving, taking a guy out in a vulnerable position when I think wasn't even live tackling. I think there's more doing like thudding, right? But yeah, I mean, he talked about in his press conference today that there's rules of engagement that we had to remind guys of, and Hobbs has probably crossed that line a couple times, but I love his mindset. Like, take it to him, get everyone else on your level and in your mindset as well.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, Collin knows my mindset on this. I mean, to be physical, you like you can't just like, yeah, we're physical, we're tough. You have to like it's a thing. You have to practice it. And like everybody describing the play, like he got off a block and like I just don't know like if people don't understand like if he probably doesn't do that, Lloyd probably runs him over because I guarantee Lloyd wasn't slowing down whether he knew it was going to happen or not. So yeah, I just don't think it's been anything like straight up malicious out of Hobbs. I think the Wicks thing was literally like he was trying to like defend, like he's not going to let Wicks catch the fucking balls. He couldn't get around him, deflect it, so he just dropped him. Like, yeah, sorry, it's football. Contact kind of happens, guys. New team. He's trying to set his identity. I think he has set his identity. I mean, he's went into meetings and talked to the receivers, like basically said, like, yeah, I'm gonna. He literally like in that meeting, they basically said he's like, yeah, sorry, but I'm gonna keep fucking doing it. Like this is how I practice, how I've always practiced. So, all right, guys, but it's coming. And I think the fact that after they said it happened, they said Tom got in his face a little bit, but nobody else in the offense did. So if it was a legit malicious football thing, I'm pretty sure any one of the other 9 players in offense would have probably done something, and people from like standing back watching would have done something with the fact that nobody besides one person even said anything, let alone started a fight, it probably wasn't very malicious at all. Nobody reacted. Nobody thought it was. Besides for the sorry, I like Andy Herman too, but he was the only reporter today that actually like acted like it was a big fucking deal. Schneidman and like nobody else even said anything. They're like, "Yep, Lloyd's hurt after a hit," and that moved on. This literally became a big deal. Literally, Andy Herman made this a big deal. If you go back and look through all the threads of any other reporter, nobody else said shit about Hobbs tackling him that way. It was literally just Herman, and Herman made this into the big deal that it is.
There we go. And I agree. I mean, defensive backs, they're already notoriously the biggest shit talkers, I think, on an entire NFL team, right? So they kind of play with that chip, play with that swagger. Like, you don't want to make a guy change. And I think that kind of reflects Halfley as well. Like, Halfley, we've talked about, is kind of a psycho. I think he probably loves it. He was probably in the background, like, smirking when all of this happened, I'm sure. Like, of course, if he saw a guy at least limp off and injured, he probably had a little bit of, oh, shit. But he probably was smirking and like, okay, yeah, I like this. This is kind of like identity that you talked about. I want on the back end that's maybe been missing a little bit. So I love it too. I mean, yeah.
Also, if this was Josh Jacobs, Hobbs wouldn't have done it. But I guarantee Hobbs getting here this first year, he probably doesn't know who the fuck Marshawn Lloyd is. So he literally is like, "Oh, this is the fourth string running back. Fuck this guy." He doesn't. There's no way if you came from another team last year, you have any idea who the fuck Marshawn Lloyd is. He literally probably thought he was the fourth string running back and just said, "All right, fourth string, I'm fucking killing him. Here we go." Like that's the thing. Like no, if they don't know who you are in the NFL or respect you, like they're gonna like yeah, there's a respect level, and Marshawn Lloyd has not had any reason to earn that from anybody. So, especially a new player in the team, I literally had no idea who he was or gave a shit. Once he realizes it wasn't number 8, it's kind of fair game.
Yeah. We'll have to see how the Marshawn Lloyd thing plays out if he does return to practice or out for a little bit of a time. But yeah, well, we'll save that here for a little bit because I'm assuming this is going to be talked about again in a little bit. I think since we had a podcast last week, Zach Tom signed his extension after our last episode, correct? So before we get into our biggest winners and losers, I mean, this is a huge win because I think it was a very friendly contract on the Packers side as well. But how massive is that? And Goody just getting it done of signing, one of the better right tackles in all of football, knocking him up, for the foreseeable future. That's pretty big news to the eve or starting off training camp.
Yeah, I mean, you just said it, Collins. Good thing to get knocked out right on the eve of camp or day or two into camp, whenever it happened. I mean, it's good to have for Jordan Love that assurance at least one of the tackle spots. He's got a solid anchor there. Unfortunately, it's not his blind side unless they decide to move Tom over there in the future. But yeah, I mean, great player, lock him up.
And they didn't fuck around. They just did it. That's the best part about it. There was no like back and forth. It just came really quickly, and it seemed like both sides were really happy. And I thought just like looking at it, it worked out for the Packers as well, pretty well.
Yeah, nothing else to add. Just like Collin said, the fact they got it done early, they didn't fuck around. That's been one thing Goody's been good at. He hasn't really hit a bunch of home runs in the draft, but the ones he does hit on, he seems to pay early and often and get ahead of it, so he doesn't have to break the bank like the fucking like the dumbass Cowboys are doing right now. Same situation. Goody doesn't do that. He gets shit done if he knows you're a key piece.
All right, before we get into biggest winners, how about the comments though that Goody made? How Quay Walker, we want him to play years and years as a Packer. Did anybody catch that? Anybody catch that like in
No.
the opener? That was comment that came out of Goody's mouth as he wants Quay to be a Packer for years and years to come. So I thought that was very interesting as well. So I guess we'll see how that plays out, and maybe, like you said, maybe Halfley will get the best out of him here too. But okay,
Riley's got thoughts. I can't wait to hear this.
No, I think Goody's that's the typical Goody, like I'm fucking smarter than all you answers. Like I'm gonna say this because I fucking want him to be like have his best year and then I'm gonna fucking sign him. But guess what? If he sucks, I'm not. So yeah, I hope he has his best year so I can sign him for years to come. But I don't know yet. That's how I took it as Goody's answer.
there you go. All right. Well, let's jump into it. Like I said, hasn't been a ton of action with, for the 5 practices, just helmets, but we did get some padded stuff today. So we're going to look who are some of the biggest winners so far of the first week of training camp. If we have some crossovers, I have a couple backups. It can be one, it can be multiple, it can be a group, it can be whatever. So we will start with Mike. Who is your biggest winner so far of the first 5 practices at training camp for the Packers?
I'm gonna start with um, Tucker Kraft. Sounds like he's been making a name for himself, making a big play every day so far. Just kind of hopefully taking that next step to being the next great tight end in the NFL, and just even cementing himself even more as a tight end 1 for the offense.
Riley, who's your biggest winner so far?
I'm going to just give myself a big pat on the back because I've been on this guy since they signed him. I'm going to go Isaiah Simmons. He's been with the ones every day. People are talking about him. Josh Jacobs, he's a unicorn. Matt LaFleur said the same thing. He's had a couple plays, tips, interceptions. He's covering guys, and he's just living up to a top 10 pick that he was. Just an athletic freak. The guys seem to love him. So hopefully he can continue that with pads on. Sounds like he had a decent day today. So yeah, just take advantage of the freak that he is, and he's trying to fix his career. So hopefully the Packers can be the beneficiaries of that.
And how quickly did the conversation go from will he make the roster to what role will he have on the defense? Just with how good he has looked this first week, it's crazy. And like I said, Halfley might be a magician and get the best out of some people. But my biggest winner, got to go back to maybe our first episode or second episode of how important it was to get this guy signed and not fuck around. Brandon McManus, 23 for 23 so far to start camp, had a 56-yarder, and they aren't just like sneaking in. Like they've been saying they're like right down the freaking middle, just piping these. We talked about like there's obviously, and he's had no competition too. So this is just him being a veteran, being savvy. LaFleur says he's got full confidence. It sounds like the most important thing is the whole setup from snapper to holder to kicker. Everything's just super smooth right now, which has been not the case the last how many training camps since Mason Crosby retired. So it just feels good to, and we'll knock on wood, it feels good to not have to really worry about that right now. Like, what the hell are we going to do at kicker? What's going to happen? Just having a veteran, a dude that's done it for many years, it's just super nice. And him to start off 23 for 23 is just fucking awesome. Like, let's just put that to bed and worry about some of these other, storylines and battles. So Brandon McManus is my big winner. All right.
I think someone asked LaFleur about that this morning in his presser too, and he's like, I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome to hear.
That's great to hear if you're a kicker too. Your coach isn't worried about you and thinking about it. I'm sure that gives you confidence. But all right, let's bring it back the opposite way here, Snake. Biggest loser. Unless someone else had any other big winners. Anyone else had a big winners?
I was going to say the entire defensive back room. I think that was a big issue coming in, and I think everybody's performed. I think their starting group has been Hobbs and Nixon on the outside and Bullard in the slot, but Valentine's been playing crazy, they said. Haddon and King have been playing crazy as the fifth and sixth guy, fourth and fifth guy, however you want to number it. Micah Robinson hasn't been bad. The 2 safeties back there are locked in and playing good. So I think that, yeah, the defensive back room as a whole was the question of the defense coming in, and sounds like they're playing their ass off right now.
And just really quickly, I was just going to mention the defense as a whole, particularly forcing turnovers and fumbles. Sounds like they've caused quite a bit of fumbles in practice here so far. And they've talked about how, that's their goal is to be the number 1 turnover defense this year. I am going to be curious to see, though, like once we get into the season and live tackling, with all this emphasis on punching the ball out, if that's going to make their tackling itself suffer. you punch at the ball, but you're not wrapping up the ball carrier. So something little to keep an eye on once we get into the season.
Yeah. Also, my other winner that I had was a little quiet today, but Dontavian Wicks had a very big, I think, like first 3 or 4 practices without pads. But I think we've talked about him being like a massive breakout candidate. Can he kind of get to that 3rd-year jump? Kind of that Devontae Adams kind of trajectory or path of, having, a good rookie season, struggling a little bit, see if he can break out here. Yeah, heard some good things about him, catching everything, creating some separation, some big plays. So Dontavian Wicks was one of my winners. But on the other side, big losers. And I don't necessarily know if he's a loser. I think it's more the situation. But my big loser right now, just with the situation itself, I think is Jordan Morgan, because it seems like they're doing the exact same thing that did to him last year. How he's essentially not getting any 1 reps at left tackle, and that's all we've heard is he's going to have a very open and legit competition to win that left tackle job. And Rasheed Walker is pretty much taking every single rep at left tackle at once. Again, I know it's funky with all the injuries, Elton Jenkins not being there, Banks missing some time, but he's been playing some right guard. He even fucking filled in at left guard. So not 2 positions. Now he's at 3. So like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, how, again, is this Goody bullshit of like, he's not really going to be considered the left tackle Rasheed Walker? Like, I don't know. Again, it's very early. Because I think this also goes into one of my big takeaways. Like, I don't think the starting offensive line is set like whatsoever. I don't think so. At least from what my takeaway are this first like 5 days. I truly think it is open, but it's just a little curious how Jordan Morgan, I thought honestly it would be like a split, or he would get a good chunk of some reps at left tackle, at least with the ones. Again, I don't know if you take that with a grain of salt with, 4 of the 5 practices without pads, but I just thought that was kind of odd. And that's why he was kind of my big loser, I think, from these first 5 practices. But
My big loser. I had Marshawn Lloyd just because of this first play today. He gets tackled, he's hurt, and that's what he was all last year, and we haven't seen him. And it's the same as last year. We're going through, oh, he's so flashy, he's so explosive. Same this year. Oh, he's different pace. You can just tell how different he is when he has the ball in his hands, blah, blah, blah. But he gets hurt instantly. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what the injury today was. I guess nobody's really came out and said anything. Um, just said he was limping around. But yeah, I don't. We haven't seen him. Nobody really knows. He just gets hurt instantly. And then you have that waiver addition. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the guy's last name. I know who he is. The running back out of Pittsburgh from a couple of years ago. He was in the 49ers. Never really hit there, but definitely fits the athleticism score that Goody loves. So the fact that they picked him up off the waiver wire tells me they like him. I don't know what that means. If he's in line to be a number 2, the number 3, I don't know. The running back room is very, very intriguing now. I think it's just, I don't know how it's going to play out from how we initially said who we thought was going to make the team. So yeah, I think Marshawn Lloyd, depending on how long he's out, just how unreliable, he just hasn't been able to survive anything for whatever reason. So I think he would be the biggest loser. We all thought he'd be the second running back probably, and if he's just, yeah, I don't know, he's just never available.
Yeah, my biggest loser is the same as Collin's, Jordan Morgan. And you said it, Collin. I don't know what the plan is with him. I feel like when you draft someone in the first round, your intention should kind of be to have them starting by year 2 at the very least, and be kind of that master at what your craft is. I mean, if you're a jack of all trades, playing 3 different positions, and you can do it fine. But if you're a jack of all trades, then by definition, you're a master of none. So I mean, he could be a fine player, but I think where he was selected, you want him to be better than fine. And will he ever be that with playing at 3 different positions. I don't know. We don't. Do they even know? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Riley's talked about this on several occasions as well. I mean, playing each of those positions, it's like a different world at each different position. So I don't credit to him for doing it and whatnot, but his situation, I feel like it sucks for him.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be, again, I'm taking it as a grain of salt right now that it's just first 4 or 5 practices, no pads, not a lot's going on. If it continues, I think like the next week or so, then it's going to be like, okay, really, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is the plan? Especially with Elton Jenkins back and Banks, like hopefully healthy now and not dealing with the back injury as much. If he's like legitimately just battling at right guard, I don't know. It's maybe they must be a lot smarter than us, I guess, and that's why we're talking on the podcast and they're on the coaching staff. But it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, doesn't make sense to me.
It's like a blessing and a curse because you have seemingly depth at the offensive line position, but at the same time, like where do you slot these guys?
Yeah.
Him in particular, it's just I don't know. But you're right. That's why they're on the coaching staff and we're not.
It just freaks me out because you're gonna have to pay Rasheed Walker after this year. He's a left tackle in the NFL. So if you're gonna give him a contract, like I think the Colts just signed their left tackle, which has been okay, Bernard Raymond, but like he got 4 years, $100 million. Not saying you're gonna pay Rasheed Walker that, but are you really gonna give Rasheed Walker over $20 million a year? Because that's what starting left tackles that get contract extensions get. So if you're not, let's probably fucking like try to practice him or what. And if you think he's the right guard, that's fine. Then why the hell do we draft fucking Belton? Belton getting reps at tackle or what? One of the two like have to be practicing a left tackle, and I have not really heard shit about either of them. They've been more inside. So why did we draft a guard and 2 guards with our first and second pick in the last 2? You don't draft guards that early. That's never been a thing.
And then
Unless they're like really, yeah. I don't know. I don't get what they're doing. If one of the two have to be practicing a tackle more often, like, or what you guys fucked up 2 drafts in a row.
I did going into today. This morning I did this before practice. One of my big losers was Jaden Reed. Until today, seemed like he finally got going a little bit today. Was involved in like 2 minutes in some of the team stuff. Because I hadn't like heard from him like at all, like the first 4 days of any of the team stuff. And then seemed like he made some big plays today. So hit the delete button and threw Jordan Morgan in there. So well done, Jaden Reed, to get off that list. But any other losers before we get into any final thoughts and going into the final drive, or is that everyone? All right. Any final takeaways? I don't want to say biggest takeaways, but just any final takeaways from either of you from these first 5 days of camp. And then going, into the second week until we record next week. Any big takeaways that you've seen as a fan before we get into final drive?
Sounds like Matthew Golden has been making some nice plays every day in practice, so that's good with the ones. I think maybe had one drop either today or yesterday that he maybe should have had, but otherwise it sounds like he's been pretty sure-handed. So that's pretty reassuring to hear so far. Hopefully he can keep it up and be that number one guy that we've all been hoping for.
Yeah. And I was a little nervous about Savion Williams and the concussion without pads, but glad that he practiced essentially like the next day or 2 days after that. And then made a couple plays today as well with the twos and Malik Willis. But how about Matthew Golden's teammate from Texas? The name is skipping my mind right now, but apparently he's had a few, is like Sam Brown Jr. or something like that. Or he's had. Yeah, I believe so. He was teammates with Matthew Golden, right? At Texas. So at one point, I don't know if it was this past year. I think it was maybe this past year, but he's had some good plays. So maybe vying for a practice squad spot for one of those receivers positions. But all right, well, that was the first week of training camp. I think we'll have a lot more to talk about next week. We'll get a full week of pads in. Family nights, whatever. Like, I don't know what we'll be able to take of it. At least we'll get to watch some on TV, and kind of see some of the team stuff for the most part. But that's kind of our recap in our perspective of week one. So let's go into the final drive. One of the best traditions, if not the best tradition of training camp of the entire NFL, comes at little kids, maybe adults. I guess I haven't been down there for a year or two to see it since they changed kind of that whole setup. Um, Players riding bikes down to the practice field from the stadium. If you don't know or have never been to training camp, the Packers locker room is obviously inside Lambeau Field, but they have to get from Lambeau Field over to Ray Nitschke Field for practice. That's where it's held. So instead of some of them drive over there, some of the bigger name players drive over there and don't do the bike route. But I would say like what 98% of the players will jump on a bike. Sometimes the coaches and ride a kid's bike over to camp. So for our final drive, we're going to take that theme and we're going to do a relay race on kids' bikes with 3 members of the Packers organization. So those 3 members, one has to be an offensive player, one has to be a defensive player, and one has to be a coach. For fairness, we are not doing any strength and conditioning coaches because I would assume they would probably be the most in shape, most fit, and kill the bike rides. So it cannot be anyone on the strength and conditioning staff, but any other coach is fair game. Specialists, if you want to go that route, potentially, I don't care. They can take place of your offense or defensive player. Doesn't matter to me, but has to be one offensive player, has to be one defensive player, has to be one coach. We're doing a bike relay race. The track. What is the track, guys? Are we going someone from the stadium to the entrance of the practice? They hand off. They go back to the stadium. They hand off, and then the final one goes back to Raynitzky, and they cross an imaginary finish line. Does that sound good? So that's probably like what?
Sure.
100, 200 yards? 200 yards? I don't know what that would be from stadium to there. Probably a couple of 100 yards, I would say. So we'll just roll with that. No specific bike, just kid's bike, whatever is there. Mike is going to have the number 1 pick. I have the second. Riley's bringing it back with the 3rd and the 4th in the snake draft. So, Mike, in any order, you're number 1 overall pick. Who you want riding your bike to start the relay race?
All right. I'm starting with Matthew Golden. He's just super fast, as we all know. Probably small enough to, pedal those little pedals fast enough. So get our team off to a good start.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised you went that route. He wasn't even on
Really?
the list. Yeah, he wasn't even on my board.
Okay, I'm gonna be interested to hear who you have.
My clear number. Well, I have cleared two top guys. So I'm gonna go with number 1. This is who I thought you were gonna take. I'm going Josh Jacobs. Just notoriously a running back, like strong ass lower body, like the drive that he has, run the ball. I feel like that's gonna translate onto the bike. So I want a dude that just has like thick legs, just super powerful down there. That's obviously powering a bike. I don't know where he's going to be on my team, if he's going to be 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. I'm probably going to put him at the 1st just to try to get out to elite potentially. But I have a feeling Josh Jacobs can power through a fucking bike. Like he's a running back. Like running backs are known for their legs and running the ball, and the dude's got a super strong lower body. So Josh Jacobs is gonna be my number 1 pick.
So, for those that don't know, I'm a big Tour de France guy, big cycling guy, have been for like 10, 15 years. So, it's more about cadence and strength. The type of Josh Jacobs, he might have too much power. He literally might pop that chain off and he fucked. So they've talked about that in Tour de France doing so. You can't be too strong. It's about the cadence. Mike's in the right path here. The smaller guys usually have it. So I'm going to keep my offensive guy to the last strategy since you both just went offense. I'm going to go defense. I'm going to go Carrington Valentine. slender, not over powerful. He is a shit talker though. He's a competitor. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Carrington Valentine for my defensive player. Long, lengthy, skinny, shit talker, like the attitude is my leadoff guy.
Okay.
And then I'll go to my coach, obviously. And I just base this off of, and I know some of them, but like I haven't seen them yet this year to see if they put on some weight over the summer. I don't know who the hell's the smallest anymore. And part of me wanted to go Hackley, but I just feel like he's too old. So I went with Ryan Downard, his defensive back coach. I remember him from last year. High energy, high motor. He's pretty well in shape. So yeah, Ryan Downer would be my second pick, the head defensive back coach for the Packers.
Okay. All right, leave it to the Tour de France guy to break down the legit strategy here. All right. Well, kind of goes into my second one, just because we've heard that he's an alien athlete on the defensive side. So I'm gonna go Isaiah Simmons as my defensive player. A little longer. I don't know. I feel like he's long legs have to something to do with it too. And you talk about like the cadence and the pace or whatever. So Isaiah Simmons is going to be my defensive player that I'm going to pick.
All right, so my defensive player I was going to pick, I was going to go with Keyshawn Nixon, kind of going in the same theme as Matthew Golden with his speed. We know Keyshawn is very fast, like on kick returns and whatnot. However, I'm going to pivot away from that. And for my defensive player, I'm going to go with someone based on what we've learned about him the last couple days. I'm going to go with Nate Hobbs here. And I'm going to go with him because we know he's kind of taking it over the line a little bit the last couple of days. I can see him kind of like pulling up to one of your guys, like right next to him, and just kind of like donkey kicking him off to the side and, kind of throwing him off a little bit. So I think he'll play a little dirty, and that's why I went with Nate Hobbs. And then for my coach, I haven't pulled up here. I went with offensive quality control coach Rob Grosso. So I purely looked at first their age of the coaches on the Packers team website, and he was the youngest coach that I could see on their staff. And he did play wide receiver in college for 3 years, so he's probably in pretty good shape. Just looking at his picture, he looks like he's in probably pretty decent shape. It's just a headshot, so that's just totally a guess. But yeah, Rob Grosso is my coach pick.
Okay. My coach, I'm going to go special teams quality control coach, Corey Harkey. Mainly a lot of the same things that Mike just talked about. He was in the NFL as recently as 2016. So I would have to imagine he's still got to be in pretty good shape just 9 years later. So he's got to probably be in his mid to late 30s, I would say. So solely couldn't pick him out. If they're like all the coaches were standing in a line, and you asked me which one Corey Harkey was, I probably would have no idea. But just for that fact that he played in the NFL, it was within 10 years. And like I said, yeah, from his picture, it looks like he's somewhat athletic. So go with Corey Harkey as my coach.
And for my third and final pick, I have the offense left. I'm going to go with the second fastest guy in the offense, and maybe a little bit smaller since Mike already took Golden. I'm going to take McCole Hardman. Speed, small, just finisher. Hopefully he can get it done.
Josh Jacobs is
shit.
freaking cranking the gear all the way up where it's like the most powerful. He's gonna fucking go through it. He's just gonna speed past it. No idea. No idea. Okay, well there's our teams. So yeah, tell us who your team would be. Of guys that we have picked or haven't picked, what your strategy would be in our training camp kids bike relay race, from Lambeau to Rainitzky to Lambeau back to Rainitzky. We didn't pick the order, but I don't know. I think it would be a good race, especially if it's a kid's bike. I'm sure probably all strategy goes out the window when all the players, cleats are dragging on the ground. So just kind of get into that as well. So, um, any closing thoughts?
Your team's definitely losing there, Colin.
Well, the big thing is, again, this isn't Tour de France bikes, guys. This is kids' bikes. We've seen the kids' bikes that have been down there. So we got to remember that as well. I did say kids' bike relay race. I did not say legit professional bike riding athlete bikes. So that has something to do with it as well, too. So if Josh Jacobs, his feet is dangling from the ground and he has to like fucking, run and use those powerful legs, I think that's pretty good. So
That's a
He,
DQ.
if he's not one of those 3-wheel bikes, the ones they have, Josh Jacobs is fucking dogging us all. If he can get one of those that can handle his legs.
you don't know what's going to be in line there. I think you just pick the first 9 bikes that you see, whatever's in line for that day, and you go. So it could totally. Very rarely though do you see like a full adult bikes down there. From at least my experience, from all my siblings and just going down to training camps. So okay, well again, tell us what you think. Who would win that race? Just shit on our teams. You can shit on my team if you want to. What your strategy would be. But that is our relay race. Any closing thoughts? The sports world in general before we wrap things up. Women's Euros was electric, I think. England pulling it out, taking down Spain. But just fantastic match after match in the knockout round was just a little refreshing after watching the Club World Cup and the Gold Cup and all that. So that was kind of good to see and kind of set the bar from, believe it or not, the Championship League, I believe, starts August 9th. Wrexham, who's been making a lot of big signings, is going to take on. I can't remember who they take on the first game, but that's August 9th, and then the weekend after that is the Premier League is back the 16th. So we're right around the freaking corner of football, soccer being back to join our other American football of college football and pro. So going to be an exciting time here in August and September of everything getting back to normal in the sports world.
Yeah, it really sucks that England won. Do not like them. Don't like their coach that she came from. I just don't like her. Never have, even from the Netherlands. Before that, really pumped. Bournemouth's on their USA tour right now. Beat the fuck out of Everton on Saturday. They play Man U on Wednesday, or I don't even know. Something I'm sure that probably won't go well, but seems like the offensive flair is still there. So I'm positive until obviously opening day when Liverpool just fucking beats the shit out of them probably. But it is what it is. I just talked about Tour de France that ended on Sunday. Shout out Tadej Pogacar, 4th championship, and he's only 28. Probably going to go down as the best cyclist ever, which none of you give a shit about, but he literally is going to be remembered as the best like bike rider and like ever, like better than Lance Armstrong. Like he just will be. He's just that fucking guy. I don't get it. He's from Slovenia. So yeah, if you ever hear that name, he'll be considered the best ever.
Interesting. Good to know. I don't really have anything else in the sports world to add. But on a personal note, I was in a golf outing on Friday and played maybe the best golf I've ever played in my life, and now I just have the itch to just get back out there. It's addicting. Like I'm losing sleep over it just thinking about golf right now. It's
Did your team win? Did your team win the outing?
We did not win. I winning score was 18 under, which I'm a little suspicious of that.
Well,
Um,
anything like above or below, I guess 15 under is always a head scratcher to me. I think.
yeah, we were a stroke better than last year. So I was pretty happy with our performance, but yeah, I'm down bad for golf right now.
Well, it should be a nice couple of weeks here coming up. Of the hot weather is supposed to be down. I think it's supposed to get into the 70s and 80s here consistently. It looks like for the foreseeable future. So that's perfect golf weather, I would say, for you, Mike.
Is it supposed to be hot as fuck up there next week for training camp when I come, or
I think like
actually normal?
low 80s, I think. So nothing like yesterday and today. We're both in like the low 90s, and feels like was in the upper 90s. So yeah, first day of pads today was it reached 95 as like actual temp, and the real feel like got pretty close to 100. So, and the fucking coaches were in like sweatshirts. I saw like freaking Butkus was like wearing, looked like it was like a fleece. Like, I don't know, is that just they just love to sweat, I guess. But like at some point that's just super crazy of like all these guys wearing long sleeve hoodies and stuff like during 95-degree temp is crazy. But it's a
Yeah,
coach's
we
thing,
have
I
a
guess.
we have a scrimmage tomorrow for my high school team, and it's supposed to be like 95 real feel, and I'm having a mental breakdown just having to go to that.
That sounds miserable. Yeah, I bring the fall. Give me like upper 60s, low 70s, like year round. Like that's what I want. But okay, well, let's get out of here. Everyone, thanks for listening in to the Dairyland Drive podcast. Keep sharing the Dairyland Drive podcast to everyone, wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, YouTube has the video up every week. Keep giving us those 5-star reviews, comment to let us know how we're doing or any of the segments, what you think. Or if you have a question that you would like us to answer, make sure you comment on any of those platforms. But yeah, that wraps up this week. The first week of training camp is in the bag. We'll break down week 2 next week with a little bit more action, I would say, with the pads and family night going on. But for now, Collin, Mike, Riley, have a good rest of your day or evening whenever you're listening to this. We will see you next episode.
Oh, yeah.